Timbercoast?
Sup, Timbercoast? It's Lewis here.
And Rose, and we have prepared for you a short presentation about the Sustainability Challenge, and also hopefully it'll give you an idea of the business case for sustainability and what that process will look like over the coming months. Some basics. We live in the biosphere, which is a thin layer on the surface of the Earth where life is possible. Within the biosphere, there are plants and animals. Plants produce O2 as well as nutrients that sustain animals, and animals produce CO2 and fertilizers that are used by the plants, and it's a well-balanced cycle. Some of the other natural flows and cycles that help sustain life on Earth are solar energy and heat radiation, and geological cycles that include volcanic eruptions and weathering, sedimentation, and mineralization. Society and the biosphere are abstractions of a very complex, interconnected mixture of smaller systems.
So thanks for the fancy words, Rose, but what does it all mean for Timbercoast? So with the global shipping industry using immense amounts of fuel to transport products around the world, they have begun to place an unacceptable impact on these natural systems. In response, going back to the old ways of shipping, using the power of the wind was conceived. So goods such as rum and coffee will be delivered with a retrofitted ship and will receive a fair transport logo to indicate to consumers that their product does not impact the earth in a negative way. To understand the transition towards a sustainable society, we use a funnel metaphor. The walls of the funnel indicating society's increasing impact on a set of declining resources. Where we want to be as a society is in the middle or other side of the funnel, where resources are no longer declining or even increasing. As a company, you want to avoid activities that could cause you to run into the walls of the funnel.
The scientific community has been able to agree upon 8 sustainability principles that we would need to meet in order to call ourselves a sustainable society. These principles are necessary and sufficient to achieve sustainability, general enough to include all applicable activities, but concrete enough to guide action, and are non-overlapping to avoid confusion. So number 1, not introducing substances from the lithosphere, or the Earth's crust, into the biosphere in a way that systematically increases their concentration in any part of the biosphere. So some elements are everywhere, aluminum, for example, and so introducing a small quantity may not affect the overall natural level significantly. But by introducing substances that are scarce to begin with, such as mercury, the overall concentration of that substance in the biosphere is affected dramatically. Number 2, not producing substances within the biosphere that systematically increase their concentration in any part of the biosphere. So higher concentrations of man-made substances in the biosphere disrupt natural flows, are toxic to parts of our ecosystem, and can even contribute to the depletion of the ozone. Number 3, not systematically and directly physically degrading the biosphere, inhibiting the natural cycles and flows from functioning properly. So things like deforestation, overfishing, habitat destruction, these are all examples of degradation that upsets the natural cycles. And then not creating or sustaining barriers to people meeting their basic needs worldwide make up the following 5 principles. So number 4 is not exposing people to conditions that systematically undermine their possibilities to avoid injury and illness. So things like working conditions, limited access to health care, and insufficient wages. Number 5 is not exposing people to conditions that systematically hinder them from influencing the social systems they are a part of. So not being able to vote or suppression of free speech. Number 6 is not exposing people to conditions that systematically hinder them from learning or developing competence. So equal access to education is an example of that. Number 7 is not exposing people to conditions that systematically imply partial treatment. So any discrimination based on race, gender, sexuality, etc. And finally, number 8 is not exposing people to conditions that systematically hinder them from creating individual meaning and or co-creating common meaning. So any suppression of cultural or religious expression, for example, residential schools. Playing field much more open. So this sets us up nicely to employ a strategic planning process for sustainability, which is backcasting from basic principles. Instead of forecasting, which is the approach traditionally used in planning, which creates a roadmap for the future based on principles and lessons learned from the past, backcasting is the idea that we visualize a desirable future based on our basic principles, which is, in our case, the sustainability principles. And then we ask strategic questions to inform how we get from the current reality to this desirable future. In backcasting, planners start by building a vision of success in the future and then ask, what do we need to do today to reach this vision? Backcasting is useful in situations that are complex and emergent, so things such as solving for sustainability, where we can't be sure of what the future will throw at us, because instead of laying out a step-by-step plan, backcasting from principles allows for many paths to be taken towards the desired future, as well as practitioners to change their course along the way. In this way, current reality is only allowed to influence the rate of progress and not its direction, as opposed to in forecasting, where the current reality defines what is possible on the path ahead.
Thanks for listening and watching. We hope that was helpful to understand our approach to this process.
If you have any questions about what we've presented, we'd love to hear them, so either via email or a quick Skype call as well. You'll also notice that we've included in this email a survey for distribution and also a letter of intent for our upcoming visioning workshop. So it would be great to get any questions that you have out of the way before starting this next phase.
Okay, we'll talk soon, and here's a little song to send you on your way.
Wooden ships on the water, very free and easy. You know the way it's supposed to be. Silver on the shoreline, let us be. Talking about very free and easy. Grips us as we watch you guide. All we can do is echo your anguished cries. Stare as all human feelings die. We are